Welcome to the Great Girlfriends podcast, where we discuss life, love, laughter, and everything in between. We're your hosts. I'm Sybil Amuti.
And I'm Brandis Daniel.
And we are at the 100th episode! Oh my gosh. Oh
this
my
is episode 100.
Won't he do it?
Won't he do it?
Won't we do it? Shoot.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so why am I feeling all like excited?
Because we're at our 100th episode.
I really can't believe we're here.
I remember us recording the very first episode.
So what you're telling me is we have done 100 weeks straight.
100 weeks straight. Through rain. What's the post office motto?
Rain, hail, sleet, snow, babies, jobs, business, travel, festival, anniversary, weddings, birthdays, meetings.
We've done it.
We did it.
We did it. We did it. We did it.
Y'all better never say your great girlfriends don't come through for you.
100 episodes. Oh my God.
That is so bananas.
So bananas. It's like seeing a baby grow up.
Seriously. Oh
wow.
My gosh.
We got to do a celebration for this. We need
confetti
confetti and balloons.
Why don't you take me on a vacation? You gonna take me on a vacation? I'm your work wife.
I got so many words.
We need a beach. We need a beach stat.
Oh my goodness, 100 episodes. Oh. Okay, awesome. We're asking for gifts.
Yeah. Yes, we are.
It's like our birthday, okay? Except these gifts we want in the form of iTunes reviews.
Yeah.
Do we have 100 iTunes reviews right now?
No, we need 100 iTunes reviews, girlfriends. Come on.
How many we got, Sid?
We're like at 60, if I'm not mistaken.
No.
That's not good
enough.
Not
good enough. Not good enough. Not good enough. We need you to stop what you're doing right now. Get on iTunes, even if it's a short review. Don't finish listening to this podcast. Press pause. That's what we want. For this 100th episode, we want 100 iTunes reviews.
I mean...
So we only need like 40 more, right?
We need like 40 more. And that's out there. You guys are out there. Girlfriends and great guy friends that listen. I know that it's within you to do it.
Yes.
And listen, I'm going to take their request one step higher. You know. As many of you have said, oh my gosh, when are you going to be on the radio? Oh my gosh, when are you going to be on television? Make some phone calls for your girlfriends.
Yes.
Make some phone calls.
Look, share this podcast with 3 people. Bring 3 people to the Great Girlfriend.
Bring 3 people. That's it.
Right.
Make some phone calls. Let's make some deals happen like girlfriends do. I mean, we do it for y'all. Y'all don't know. We make some deals happen for y'all. We be out in the streets making some stuff happen for our girlfriends. And so we expect you to do the same for us. So help us get to the places where we want to go. We help you get where you want to go. And this relationship continues.
100 episodes, Sybil.
100.
I can't believe it.
Thank you for being my friend, Brandis.
Thank you for being my friend, Sybil.
Travel down the road.
So look, these 100 episodes mean I've had to deal with Sybil for 100 episodes, which is a delight.
You've had to deal. Let me tell you something.
Which is a delight.
I am not dealt with. These wee hours that we get together. You know, people pay for these hours and you get them for free. You know that.
Ooh.
Did you know?
Ooh.
You knew.
I'm so lucky.
You are gifted. God has a special plan for your life. That's why I'm here.
Oh my goodness. This is so special. This is really special. It makes me smile so big to think that we've done 100 episodes. Like, that time went by so fast. Literally, Sybil and I was like, wait a minute. We're almost at 100 episodes. And guys, look, we need to do an episode on celebrating milestones because Sybil and I are
Oh, we are
awful at it.
no good at it.
We reached 100,000 downloads and we didn't celebrate.
Didn't celebrate.
We reached 150,000 downloads. We didn't celebrate.
Nope. We held a conference and didn't celebrate. Like, we
Right.
did not celebrate.
We celebrate this 100th episode though.
What are we doing? Where are you taking me? That's all I want to know.
I am taking you, girl, to the best place in the world, the
Oh
What
my
Women
God.
Want
Tell me about
Conference.
it.
The What Women Want Conference. Oh yeah. That's Sky's new thing. Oh yeah.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah.
I
So
love
I'm
it.
taking you to the What Women Want Conference.
You know what's so amazing?
Next what?
Tomorrow,
Tomorrow.
do you understand? We
Tomorrow
literally
I will see you at Crosby Street Hotel.
yay.
Yay!
We did not plan for our 100th episode to land the day before our conference started. That's just how really amazing God is.
So amazing.
That's so cool. Are you bringing me a gift? You actually still owe me a gift
I
from
got you
like
something shiny.
don't try it. You
I
see,
swear
it
I
just
do.
dawned on you. You owe me a gift from like 40 episodes ago. And I want my gift.
I promise I got something shiny. The girlfriends are gonna see it. I'm gonna put it on Facebook Live.
So today, what are we talking about today?
Outside of the What Women Want conference tomorrow.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
not really much more to talk about, honestly. Like, if you're not registered and you're not attending, you need to stay glued to Instagram and Facebook
Yeah.
and Twitter. And
Yeah.
you need to follow our hashtags, What Women Want 17 and hashtag Own My Future. And you need to make sure that you, like us, celebrate Prudential for being the absolute best brand partner in the field. I'm telling you, the experience that they have planned and some of the things that we've been working on are just so much fun. And our speakers, oh, hugs, hugs, hugs all the way around. This is going to be amazing. And I'm really sad if you're not making it, but I hope that you'll be there at 2018. But stay glued to social. Make sure you keep up to speed. And our sermon for the week, Brandis.
You were crazy. Our episode for this week is so appropriate because it's on starting something new.
It's very similar to if you listen to episode 98, we talked about getting ready for change. So that was priming you for the idea that change was even good because some people are stuck in yesteryear. And so we were trying to really get you warmed up to the idea that change, progress, elevated thinking, moving yourself forward, that these things are good things. And now we're ready to talk about the start of something new.
Which, by the way, we're in our 100th episode, if you guys hadn't heard.
Hashtag winning, hashtag 100.
So we're starting something new because our episodes will now be in the hundreds.
Oh my goodness.
We'll be like episode 101, episode 102.
What random person am I going to tell about? I might go to Dwayne Reed and be like, did you know that we just reached 100 episodes on our podcast? He'll be like, huh?
Right, right.
But yes, starting something new. What is it about new that makes some people cringe? New. You know, some people get excited about new and the anticipation, but I think most of the time is when they know what's ahead. Like if it's a new car, a new job, and they're excited because there's certain things that that are guarantees. But what about that new that is almost like walking blindly with faith? You know, that start. And so we know that there are those 4 things that really keep us from starting. And I mean, honestly, we faced it with the podcast. We faced it with every business endeavor we ever start. We face it with every experience that we want to open up to the great girlfriends. I mean, we've had workshops over the course of this last year, and they were all new to our audience, and they were new to us, you know, in introducing them. Just different things that we've had to embrace. And we go through these challenges. And the first one is just straight up people being afraid, fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
First of all, you know, whether or not we realize it, every single day is an unknown. We talked about this before. You never get the same day twice. I don't know if you know this, but every Monday is a new Monday. We always want to make Monday the same.
That's so
It's
true.
not the same. You never get the same day twice. You never get the same experience twice because you would have to repeat days and you don't get the same day twice. So every time we do something, it's something new. Even though we think we do the same thing over and over, there's a newness every single time. But it's that unknown. It's us not even embracing the fact that we do new things daily. So we fear the idea of us walking into territory that we haven't seen before or territory that our families never seen before.
Absolutely.
Or territory that we would not have traditionally placed ourselves in. I know some girlfriends that have severed ties in relationships, or maybe they're going through a divorce, or maybe they're getting married, and they're the first one in their family to be married. I'm hearing that story a lot now. Or, we have our younger girlfriends who just graduated, and some of them are the first to graduate college. And now they're walking in this new space, and it's like, what do I do in this unknown territory?
Absolutely. I mean, I can remember moving to New York or even talking about moving to New York and just how scary that felt.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It just felt it felt so scary.
Yeah.
Not just for me, even the people around me.
Yeah.
I think the other thing that keeps us from starting is fear of failure.
Yeah.
And so we've talked about that and fear of success too,
Mm-hmm.
right? So both of those things can keep us from starting. Like, what if it doesn't go the way I think it's going to go? What if I move to New York and, you know, I fall on my face? Or what if I move there and I don't find an apartment? What if I move there and I don't have any friends?
Yeah.
Or what if I start this restaurant and nobody comes?
Yeah.
What if I write this book and nobody reads it?
Mm-hmm.
All
Yeah.
those things.
Yeah. Absolutely, fear of failure is that other that you just like, you know what? I'm just not even gonna start it because
Right.
if any one of these things on my long list happen, I'm gonna feel like a failure.
And quite honestly, it is a risk,
Yeah.
right? Like, we don't know if people are going to show up. We don't know if things are going to go right. We don't know. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it truly is a risk. But, you know, nothing great happens without taking risk.
Absolutely nothing. Absolutely, you're totally right.
Yeah,
You're totally right. And if we want the great, we have to be willing to understand the process that it takes for us to be or participate in the great. You
absolutely.
know, number three is fear of being rejected. And that is, people turning their back or people deciding that what I do is not good enough for them. I
Mm,
like when I talk about branding and I talk to people about their targets and their audiences, there's an audience for every single product in the market. Every
there
single
is.
product has an audience. It's all about you locating your audience. But if you haven't located your audience and you're marketing to the wrong person or the wrong audience, you can easily feel rejected when people say, oh, no, that's not for me. And that fear of rejection will keep you from even putting yourself out there. But I love to go through, when I'm in Walgreens, it's so random. I just like to see what products people are even into. So I go through the as seen on TV section.
Yes.
My mind is blown. Half of that
Right.
stuff I would never even think to create or purchase. But there's an
Right.
audience for for all of these little gadgets and all of these little as seen on TVs. And as seen on TV was just on TV. And now it's actually in the Walgreens stores. And I just trip out because I think about, people, wouldn't even put themselves on Shark Tank and they would be one show away from a transaction that could take their business from an idea into a full out business. But that idea that you could possibly be rejected will keep you at the house with a notebook full of ideas.
Ooh.
Isn't that something?
Mm-mm-mm. That is something else.
Fear of being rejected is almost the worst because even when you're, talking about starting in new relationships and maybe you're coming out of one and you're dealing with the idea that your former spouse or your former mate didn't like certain things about you. So new guys may not like the same things that this other person couldn't appreciate. So
Right.
you don't even start dating
Right. That's so true.
and you're
Or,
withholding goodness from people.
right. That's so true, Sybil. And then sometimes we have the fear of, I would start this, but what if I don't finish?
Girl.
What if
Mm-hmm.
I would start it, but what if I don't finish it? Or I'm going to start it, but it's going to require too much to finish it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and I don't, why do I keep talking about restaurants, starting a restaurant?
I
I
was
don't want to
just
start a restaurant. I have no idea. I have no interest in starting a restaurant. So this
uh-huh.
is clearly for somebody else. But even with thinking about like starting a restaurant, like what is it? What all is it going to require? Like what are all the things that I'm going to have to get from the city? What are all the approvals I'm going to get? And then before you even get started, you're like, it's just going to take too much, and I'm not going to have what it takes to finish this. So I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Getting a
Absolutely.
degree, going to
Yeah.
get a degree.
Come on. Yeah, absolutely. And we keep our head so deep into the process and we think it's so long and it's just too much and I won't be able to finish because of all these circumstances that are always subject to change and we just never even start.
Right. And I'm not, or some people, there are some people who want to be a doctor, who've always wanted to be a doctor, but they think they're past the age of becoming a doctor,
Mhm.
you know.
Mhm.
And the thing is, time doesn't wait for any of us. So it just keeps moving and moving and moving. And
Yeah,
before you know it, 8 years have passed by. And, if you had just wrote a paragraph every day, you'd be finished with the book. I'm
that's
talking to
right.
myself.
Me
But
too.
like if
Mhm.
you if you had just wrote a sentence every
Mhm.
day, you'd be finished.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean there's certain things that we know for sure. One is that each one of us, it doesn't matter what age, it doesn't matter what, qualification level we're at, we can start.
absolutely.
We can start. There's nothing, literally nothing, no chain, no bondage that's keeping us from starting except for ourselves. Some people can say, I don't have enough money. And I can say to you, here's 10 ways you can do it without money.
Right.
Some people will say, I'm too old and I can show you someone older,
Yeah,
or I can show you, I can reference, I can go back and find a blueprint of someone who was up against similar odds and they managed to start. So we all qualify to start.
absolutely.
The only thing that's stopping us from starting is us.
Yeah,
And we need to know that. And we also need to know that our circumstances are not big enough to keep us from starting unless we make them big enough.
that's so true.
If we make them big enough, they absolutely will prevent us from starting. But if we really, really measured them against all of the weights of the world and all of the goods of the world, we understand just how minor they really, truly are and how they cannot stop us unless we allow them to.
That goes back to our last episode on elevated thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely.
Absolutely. And these are things that we need to know. We also need to know that we can craft the start just the way we want. Meaning, I might, have a book in my heart and you have a book on your heart. Someone else has a book on their heart and they started one way and I listened to Brandis's process and I've decided, oh, I can't do it like Brandis. Therefore, I can't do it.
Mm,
So we get so caught up in other people's processes sometimes that we forget that our journey is our own, our course is our own, our means to the end, might be similar, but could be totally different. And so I can't look at the way you do something and define and make that the definition of whether or not I qualify to do it. I have
absolutely.
to understand that I have my own way. We can all become authors, and do it totally differently. We can
Yeah,
all become
that's so
leaders
true.
and go about it in different ways. But if I get confused by looking around at everyone else's start and everyone else's finish and their process and seeing whether or not I think in the same way, I'll miss it completely.
That's so true.
Yeah.
That is so true.
So how do you start something new, Brandis?
You start, Sybil.
Where is that start button? Let me find it. Yeah.
You just start. You
Mhm.
start where you are.
Mhm.
Like whatever that is, you just start.
Mhm.
And sometimes honestly, starting is just saying it.
Mhm.
You know, like sometimes starting is saying I am an author.
Yeah.
Sometimes starting is saying I'm pursuing a degree in medicine.
Yeah.
Sometimes starting is just saying, whatever it is that I'm a public speaker
Mhm.
or I'm a coach or, I'm a chef. or just, or I've decided to go to culinary school.
Yeah.
You could have not even filled out the application yet.
Mm-hmm.
But if you say that, like if you proclaim that out loud to other people, you've started the process.
Oh, that's so true. You know, because even in starting and saying yes to that, you're saying yes to the call. And it's like I feel like exactly what you're saying is so true. Is sometimes we negotiate with whether or not it's for us to do, but starting is saying yes, I will do it, and yes, I am.
Right.
I'm the one. I'm the one to start HFR, Brandis. I am the one to do this. I love it. It's right. Number two, force yourself into an uncomfortable position. I mean, we talk about getting outside your comfort zone all the time. Let's just be clear. Being on this podcast is like, you guys don't even understand how far outside of our comfort zone we were when we started. To the point now, I think we are in a comfort zone
But
because,
when we started,
oh,
I was not
Brandis was
like,
like, we are not talking about love. We
I
are
was like,
only
I'm
talking
not
about
talking
business.
about that. I'm not doing it.
Then she's on here talking about Rich all night. But but
I,
getting
yeah.
yourself into an uncomfortable position, pushing yourself into places that you've never been, understanding that the unknown is a good space. It's a good space, even when it seems dark and scary, even when it seems like you're alone, or it feels like the resources aren't there. It's still a good space because it's forcing you into a place of elevated thinking. It's forcing you to locate solutions. It's forcing you to stand beside the thing that you started. And if you quit too early, that's on you. But if you stick with your start, you can keep starting over and over and over until you reach a place where you want to start again and again and again. No one can take that from you. It's up to us. Every new day is a fresh start. And so every day I start fresh with my mission. God might tell me to do it in a different way one day, but I have to put myself in a position which is extremely uncomfortable to me to say, all right, what does this day have for me? How am I going to approach it? And what
Yeah.
contribution am I going to make today? What am I starting that totally just forces me to be somewhere I would never imagine? But I'm an adventurous person. Excuse me. I'm an explorer. So I like to know what's in the unknown.
It's so true. And the truth is, anytime you're starting something new, you're going to be uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
There are going to be some times where you're like, "Oh my God, did I say that the right way? Did I say this? What do they think?" Like you're going to have those thoughts. Did I do this? Did I do this right? I don't know. Like, but the more you do it, you kind of get to a place. Sybil and I had a call today.
Yes, we did.
We had a call today that probably would have rocked our world like 5 years ago. We would have literally been like agonizing. Oh my God, did we say the wrong thing? Did we offend that person? Did we do this? Did we do that? But we're at a place, if you keep putting yourself in uncomfortable positions, you'll get to a place where you'll say, well, let the chips fall where they may.
That's right.
Like,
That's right.
we got the phone and we said, did we say something wrong? I don't know. I don't think so. And literally that conversation lasted all of maybe 5 minutes and we had moved on. Whereas, 5 years ago, that conversation might have lasted 5 days.
Yeah, yeah.
We would have, we
We
would have
would have,
been going back and
yeah.
forth. But when you keep putting yourself in an uncomfortable position, it gets a little bit more comfortable.
Right.
And I want to say this is for you, Mom, if you're listening. This is for you, Auntie. This is for you, the woman who's over 60, who's listened to this podcast. Because, Sybil, they listen to us because, they're like, oh, this is such a great podcast.
Yeah.
But I want you to apply it to your own life
Yeah.
because you've been doing the same thing, with your husband, with the same people, with your daughters or with your sons or with your grandchildren. You've been doing the same thing. So this is for you. Put yourself in an uncomfortable position. And we want you to start something new. Because sometimes we can look at like the millennial and say, oh, you start something new. And, we got the aunties and people like my mother who listen to the podcast and they think it's really great.
Yep.
Now, if they're applying this, it's a whole nother story.
Absolutely.
Mama, I'm saying you theory, not
Theoretically.
literally,
Yeah.
Mom.
You get that phone call later.
Right, right. But I'm just saying, like, this is for everyone. This is
Mm-hmm.
not for you to send to your great girlfriend. This is for you.
Yeah. Yeah, because we each have something.
We all
We
have
each have
something
something.
that we need to start new.
Yeah. And then, I mean, consider what would happen if you never accomplished what you desire. You
Sort
know,
of.
I can recall one time going through this experience where I imagined my life if I had never pursued the things that God was leading me to do. And in this horrible vision, I was alone, in an apartment that I left in Harlem probably 4 years ago on a sofa that we haven't had in over 10 years. I was definitely beyond my ideal weight. I had the TV that I was watching. I was on the sofa with snacks around me. The TV that I was watching was a TV that we had when we first got married. Sam and Dylan's furniture were there, but they were like not living there. And Sam came, and this is all in a vision. Sam came and brought me food and
Mm,
like hugged me, kissed me on the cheek, and he wouldn't even stay to eat with me. And when I looked outside, Dylan was in the car. They're teenagers at this point, and Dylan
mm,
was in the car with Kwaku. So in this vision, the way I saw this, we were not together. And Kwaku looked like he was prospering. He looked healthy, and all was well. But I was just in a really deep, dark place. And what I gathered from this vision that I had, this was at an experience that I had at one of Tony's events. What I gathered from that was that my kids were so disappointed in me and the woman that I never showed them, the woman
mm,
that they knew was in there that never stood up tall enough and never had the courage to start. And my husband couldn't keep up with a woman who lost her dreams.
mm.
And, so there goes my marriage is severed, and there goes my relationship with my kids. What kind of woman does Dylan want to be when she can't look in the mirror and see her mother, see her example?
Right,
Because I never had the courage to start, because I was so afraid of the unknown, and because I was so afraid of being rejected that everything that I feared had come upon me. And
mm.
so, and this, I mean, this was horrible, horrible, horrible. But what it did was it pushed me so far out of my comfort zone, Brandis.
Wow.
And it gave me the courage to understand that everything is bigger than us. It's not about us. My start is not
Right,
about me. I might be the one to start, but I'm charging forward so that I'm opening a path for other people. I'm
right.
blazing a trail. I'm not doing this just for me. It's bigger than me. And so when you consider what would happen if you never accomplish what you desire, you recognize that it's not even worth the failure.
Mm-mm.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it to put so much pressure on the start that you just never do. It's not worth the failure that you experience in your heart. Some people are
Mm,
so tormented by their regrets.
mm.
Some of their regrets, I wish I could have. I wish I had. If I had a chance to do it again. And so many of those are starts.
Right.
I would have
That's so
done
true.
this. I would have done this. Don't do it like me. Do it this way. Start this. Go there. Do this. Be this. You hear this all the time from people who are being tormented by their regrets. And I don't want any one of our girlfriends to feel or experience any torment in real life because they were too afraid to start.
Right. And I was just thinking, as you were talking and you said something about, you were talking about failure, going back to like fear of failure, right? I almost got into a place where I'm like, if I fail, God is going to use that too.
Yes, all things.
And it's like, and I have, oh my God, I failed, failed on many, many things, but I don't view them as failures. That's the
Yeah,
thing. In my mind, I don't see them as failures. I
yeah.
just don't, I haven't processed them that way because every single time, I guess a failure, I guess you can define failure as something not turning out the way you wanted it to, I guess.
Yeah.
And there has, there has
You
been
see
so
me,
many
I'm the
things
wrong one.
that have not turned out the way I wanted them to, but what I got out of it, like the growth
Hmm.
in me, whether it was like character growth in me, emotional growth in me, um, becoming very steadfast in what I stood for.
Mm-hmm.
All those things have come out of what other people could perceive as failures.
Right. Right. That's so good. That's so true.
So it's like we have to be willing to go through the entire journey.
Yeah.
And that entire journey isn't going to be high, 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 high.
No.
It's just,
Mm-hmm.
it's just not.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be turns and twists and things you didn't see around the corner. And there's going to be some lows and there's going to be all those things. But I think if you know in your heart that at the end, everything's going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I know at the end it's all going to work together
Mm-hmm.
for my good. I know
Absolutely.
that because I love God.
Mm-hmm.
I know that. So it's like when you know that, all of the other twists and turns, though disappointing, and sometimes it can break your heart, and sometimes it can be so heavy and it can be such a burden to carry, that at the end it's all going to somehow work out, and
Mm-hmm.
that even this is some kind of way working for your good. And even our girlfriends who are going through something now,
Mm-hmm.
if you're in the middle of it and you feel the weight, just know that something's being built in you.
Yeah. Yep.
Like
That's it. Oh, Brandis, that's so good. Because when I think about failure, you and I are similar in that way that we don't internalize things as failures. And I've learned a long time ago, and hopefully another girlfriend can take this away. For me, the failure is when you miss the lesson.
yeah,
Because if I drop a ball or if something takes a left turn, I fail if I don't take a lesson away from that I can apply towards the next situation.
right.
And so it's taking a moment to stop and learn the lesson for me. And I realized that that's one of the things that's allowed us to get to 100. It's us being able to say, what do we do wrong there? What do we do better? How can we fix this? What can we do better? But taking a look at the things that we're doing and considering them as how do we create greater successes? I don't
Yeah,
want to look at how to avoid failure. I just want to create better successes.
right,
If I keep creating more successes, I'm going to start fresh every time because I'm looking for a
right.
greater success than we had before. And that keeps pushing us forward. But if I'm always keeping my eyes on failure, I'm keeping my head to the ground. I'm constantly looking down, waiting to pick up something that failed.
And as a friend told me the other day, at the end of the day, fear isn't something that God gave to us.
Right, right.
And so he didn't give that to us.
Mm-hmm.
And when you really think about fear, and she said this to me, fear is really ego.
Yeah.
It's really our ego, because
Mm-hmm.
normally whatever we're afraid of is attached to our ego,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
whatever it is.
Very true. Absolutely.
So, and then I would say, how to start something new. Look at something new. So simple, right?
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it's like you said in the last episode, like looking at that Jeff Koons art installation,
Mm-hmm.
right? Something new, something different, something that made me think a new thought.
Mm-hmm.
Just seeing something new, whether that's, in a book, or whether that's going to an art museum that you've never been to, or, going to some other kind of historical museum you've never been to, or, going into a neighborhood you've never been to before, or going to another country, or going to a play, or whatever it is. See something new. When you see something new, it kind of inspires you to say, oh, you know what? Maybe I can do something new.
Mm-hmm.
It's just an inspiring thing. It definitely helps.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Last but not least is to take a step into the water. It's so interesting. I was having this conversation with Kwaku. We talked about Peter and his short walk on the water. And, everyone looks at Peter like, oh, Peter failed because, Jesus called him out and said, oh, you have little faith. And we look back and I'm like, what about the 11 who never got acknowledged? Who never even had the faith to step on the water?
Right.
Who didn't even imagine the pursuit of Christ or to even get closer to him by stepping on the water. They were like, I'm gonna wait to him to come to us
Right.
because we're in this boat. And he too far out. So we're going to wait for him to get closer to us. So I'm not even going to bother putting myself out there. I'm afraid of the unknown.
Right.
I'm afraid of failing at walking on water. I'm afraid if I get out there, he's going to be like, boy, why you step out that boat? Trying to walk on
Right.
water like me. I'm afraid of being rejected. I'm
Right.
afraid of not finishing the course, of getting on the water. So I'm just not, I'm going to stay on the boat. What about those few steps that he was able to take?
Mm-hmm.
Why can't we see the good in what Peter did?
Mm-hmm.
You know, he took the steps into the water. At least he was the one that walked on the water.
Right.
At least he was the one who got acknowledged for his faith. It was little faith, but it was enough to get him a few steps on that water.
Right.
And some of us need to take that little mustard seed and take those few steps on the water, and then grab another mustard seed and take another few steps on the water. But let's be acknowledged for the fact that we are the ones that are going to apply faith in pursuit of what we know is out there in the water.
So, well, sometimes being in the water is the only thing that will push you to ask for things you never thought you'd ask for.
Absolutely.
It will,
Absolutely.
it will put you in a place where it will squeeze. I'm so tempted to say require. It will squeeze something out of you that you didn't know was in you. It will have you asking for
Yeah.
things you never thought you'd ask for.
Yeah.
And because once you're out there, it's like do or die.
Yeah.
And God, I feel like He loves that.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
know, like it's like He loves when we trust Him to that extent where we're willing to step out there and trust that He's going to catch us.
Absolutely. And you think about it, so many times when we think about the water and people think about taking that step of faith, we think about swimming in the water. What about walking on top? Does it even matter the temperature of the water? It doesn't matter. It doesn't
So
matter
true.
how hot things get. It doesn't matter what the climate is like in your industry. It doesn't matter if there's a million and one stylists out there. You're walking on top of water. So you're walking above certain things. When we have enough faith to get out there and start, we're elevated.
Sybil, you better preach,
I
girl.
am
You better say
so,
that.
hallelujah, serious about this.
That is so true. It doesn't matter
It
what the
doesn't
temperature
matter.
is.
It
It
doesn't
does
matter.
not matter.
It
It
doesn't
doesn't
matter.
even matter what's in the
It
water.
doesn't matter what's in the water. You're on top of the water in the first place.
Don't
It
matter.
doesn't even matter.
Oh, that's so good.
It doesn't matter. And I just, every time I think back, I'm like, wow, dang, big ups to Peter. Seriously, he didn't finish the course. He didn't finish that thing. He stepped in the water, and the other 11 watched. And
Right.
they watched, and some of them were probably like, Peter, no, he ain't. Peter, no, he can't walk on water. What is Peter doing? And then some of them were like, go, Peter, go. You can do it. You can do it. And the other people were like, I don't know why he even trying to start something. He needs to just sit back and wait on the master. You know what I mean? There's all kind of conversation happening back on that boat. And Peter wasn't like, I'm not dealing with
But
that. I'm
but
going
Peter
out.
Peter experienced something no one else has
No
ever
one else
experienced.
experienced it.
And
That's what
and
I'm talking
and
about.
and the thing is, even though he didn't finish that walk, but can you imagine what that did to his faith level?
Come on.
The fact that he took those steps and he was over water, and you made me think. I'm in an industry where I got all kind of things in that water,
Mm-hmm.
and and the temperature is can be it can be whatever it wants to be.
Yeah.
But when God has called you to something and when He's purposed you to something, He will so have you walk over that thing.
Absolutely.
Like you won't even know. You won't even know. Like how am I even walking over this? How
Yeah.
am I even getting to these places? How are these doors even? Well, you'll know, right? How are these doors even opening? But other people will look and say, "But how?" And that's
Yeah.
when you can point them to the source,
Yeah.
and that's the opportunity, and that's the whole point.
Yep.
The whole point is so that we can point them to the source.
Yeah. And you know what's so funny? After he says to him, "You little faith," I bet you $5, maybe $10, that when he got back to the boat, the rest of the disciples were like, "Bro, what was it like on the water?
Right?
Tell me about it. What's it like out there? I wish I had done it." You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Everybody wants to know what it's like out there. Everyone wants to know,
Right.
what's it like when you started? What was it like? How did it feel? Tell me, was it warm? Was it cold? Were you scared? How did you take the first step? Because that's what you do when you're out there on your start. You're changing the world. You're blazing a trail. You're becoming a change agent for other people.
Absolutely.
Plain and simple.
Absolutely. And sometimes the things that are in the water are your emotions. I was just thinking that
Oh,
sometimes our emotions and they stop us from moving forward.
absolutely.
Our emotions, our feelings are hurt, like all these like things that are really internal,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
These are the ones that stop us from moving forward.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we could go on and on about that. We could go on and on about having a sense of direction that comes from applying faith to start something new. I mean, it's just it. This might need a part two at some point down the line. But for tonight, we're closing on our 100
100.
episode. 100 looks good on you, girl.
Oh, it looks so good. Honestly, guys, we're so like tired isn't even the word, but it's really not the word. And but you know, 100 episodes. Like I remember recording the first episode. I remember recording the second episode when we didn't even have a name for this podcast. We didn't even know what it was going to be called, and
Yeah.
and we weren't even sure like what direction we were going to take with it in terms of what we were going to share and um we knew what our core message was going to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we knew that we were going to be completely vulnerable with you guys and very honest. We knew those things. We had some guidelines set, but there were so many things we didn't know when we recorded our very first episode.
Yeah, like how we were going to keep it up.
Right. We really had not thought all the way through that.
Yeah, like we were like it the start. It was the most important piece of it was to start.
Yeah.
Start with what we had, bring it all to the table, leave nothing behind.
Yeah. And once you start, like that momentum, sometimes, like the further you get in the water, you're like, I've come too far to turn around.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so here we are. And, hopefully, we'll continue by faith to do everything that we're being called to do in this podcast and beyond. And we can't thank you enough for being with us every single week. And just every time you send a message, every single email, we never stop going like, wow, that's so great. Hearing the changes that are taking place in your lives, the things that we declared by faith early in, that are taking place now. And as we go into the conference tomorrow, we are championing for every single woman who's listening. And we are determined that as long as you listen to this episode, you can pursue what you want out of life and you can attain what you want out of life. And you'll grow deeper and higher in your faith and in your belief in what you're supposed to be doing in this world, and you're going to laugh really hard and crazy and become very vulnerable and trust the unknown, because that's what life is about. That's the sweet spot.
Absolutely.
And I
I
got to
love it.
go because my husband going to be like, all right, 100 episode, wrap that thing up.
Right. We love y'all so
We
much. Oh my
do.
goodness. We giving y'all a big huge hug through the
Yes.
through the podcast, wherever you're listening. We're giving you
Yes.
a huge hug.
And we
Thank
can
you.
really quickly have to thank Amanda Perry
Yes.
for every week, every single week. You wonder about our show notes, you wonder about social notes, you wonder about who's keeping us accountable to certain things. Amanda has been with us weekly, making that happen. And
Yes.
Kwaku,
Yes.
Kwaku keeps us pretty on the inside out. He just he
Yes.
makes sure that we are graphically tight, and he's been with us since the beginning.
Since the very beginning.
Since the beginning, he believed in his girls, and
Yes.
he's here with us. So, thank you, Kwaku.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we can't do this by ourselves.
No,
It
no.
takes a village.
And the list goes on and on. Portia travels with us sometimes. And thank you, Portia, for being a big piece of that. Dorinda
Bet.
Walker, thank you so much for supporting us and making sure that the world gets a chance to know more about what we do.
Absolutely. And all of our guests
Yes.
who've been on the podcast. Like, there's just so many people who have made this come alive, who've been willing to, people who get paid, thousands of dollars to speak, have come on this podcast and shared with our great girlfriends.
Yes.
And us.
Yes. Yeah.
So
we've been gifted, and you've all been gifted, and hopefully you understand just how many people have poured into what's taking place.
Absolutely. So to all our great girlfriends we're going to see at the What We Want conference tomorrow, we cannot wait to hug you, to see you, to laugh with you, to have a blast, which we will have.
Yes.
And to take care of you, because we got you covered.
Yes. I'm so excited. And all our speakers. Oh, I'm so excited. So anyway, we're shutting this thing down. Thank you, Kwaku.
Thank you, Rich.
Thank you, Sky, Sam, Dylan.
Yes, and to all our family and our friends who've been by our side. And we want to thank you, great girlfriends, for trusting us as your go-to source for all things life, love, and laughter.
Yes, make sure you visit our website and listen every Wednesday on iTunes, Stitcher, Podcast Republic, Podcast Bean, Blueberry, and every other podcasting service. Be sure to check us out on social. We're on Instagram,
The Great Girlfriends.
We're on Facebook,
The Great Girlfriends.
On Twitter,
_great GFS.
And we also have a thriving Facebook group of over 16,000.
Yay!
Called The Great Girlfriends.
Yes.
Make sure you post your questions online. You share with your friends. Keep listening. And keep being a great girlfriend. Oh my God. For the 100th time. Oh my goodness. I'm Sybil.
And I'm Brandon.
And we're signing off. Peace.